Welcome to the NOOP. Welcome back, guys. It's NOOP. I'm Jared. Tonight we've got Rob.
Ew.
Zach.
Hello.
Mike.
Hello.
And Adam.
What up?
Tonight we're going to be talking about MMOs. Specifically, I think it's going to be some free-to-play stuff. I'm sure we'll have to talk about the 800-pound gorilla in the room being Warcraft.
Yeah, there's a lot of stuff we got to talk about, but first I'd like to apologize for the last podcast.
Why? Because it was ridiculous?
Ridiculous.
What was ridiculous about it?
Everything.
The back of your head is ridiculous.
What the hell's going on with Zach tonight?
No, yeah, I think he's supposed to pot outside or something.
This is awesome.
Zach drank whiskey.
Keep this up.
Zach drank whiskey, that is the answer.
That's the trick. We gotta get Zach a little whipped up before he comes in here.
Alright, so let's start talking about probably the most recent games we've each been playing. So, Jared, what MMOs have you been playing?
Recently, let's see, I played Star Wars not Galaxies. A long time ago.
No.
Star Wars Knights. Star Trek Online.
Star Trek Online?
Yeah.
You tried.
I tried. It wasn't. No. Actually, I played it for apparently 10 hours or some shit. I tried playing Dungeons and Dragons online, but it completely failed in loading. It just the game wouldn't work.
I can't get it to open.
Yeah, I can't get. I got to character creation, and then by the time you hit create, it just doesn't do anything.
Game's horrible.
But the most recent game I played, I don't know if I'd consider it an MMO or not. Probably not. Torchlight. That's more of like a.
Well, the 1 or 2.
2.
2 you can play online, so I will give it that.
I mean, we got it. Chuck actually bought it for everybody for like a Christmas gift
It was
because
$10.
he was cool. Yeah, he gave us all a copy, thinking that we'd play online, but we barely get together as it is. I don't know how he thought we'd have time to play a game together.
I just recently bought that too, so
Yeah. So
$10.
well, that's the most thing I've been playing
Go
recently.
Steam.
The thing I played the
Yay,
most,
Steam.
the thing I played the most, I think, was World of Warcraft, which I played for 6 years. I have been clean for almost 3.
Alright. Rob.
Yeah, I have the guilty pleasure probably in the room here where I play like a stupid little flash game that is probably not very well known by like pretty much anyone or anything. But...
Rob, there's millions of players in that game. What's the game called?
No, there's not millions of players on the game.
There's hundreds of thousands.
Probably
There
more in
is
that
some.
neighborhood.
There's
Anyway,
tens.
the name of the game is
Some of them are European.
There's 5 guys
They're from all
playing
over
the
the world actually, and primarily not the United States.
It's 5 guys named Lars. That's all it is.
Anyway, it's put out by
Burgers and
Kabam
fries.
Games, similar to company to Zynga, basically. But Kabam is kind of like Zynga's competition. The name of the game is Edgeworld. Basically, it's a base building game where it's a tower defense kind of setup that you make. The players in the sector that it's called, so this way there's not too many players in a single area. Join alliances. Alliances fight over territory on the map. Territory on the map gives you bonuses towards building additional units and base items. Politics ensue with alliances making treaties with one another and going to war with one another and everything like that. I've been playing them for probably 4 or 5 months now, something like that. With,
How long can you leave the game without playing before your crops wilt?
Well, it's more so a matter of whether or not you get kicked out of your alliance for not being online for too long and helping out with the war on the map, basically.
Gotcha.
And your warps recharge within a half hour, and you can have up to, in a typical base, up to 12 warps. So a typical battle can last somewhere between around 30 seconds or so. So basically, you need to be online constantly replenishing those warps, and if you gain a level, all warps replenish, so you can, if you plan it out correctly, be on the constant offensive, taking over territory on the map.
What the fuck's a warp?
Warps are how you
It's like a warp gate. It's how you get to other places.
But what does it have to do with the game?
That's how you attack people.
That's how you attack other territories on the map, is by using a warp to get, because technically all the different territories on the map are different planets in the universe. And the map is technically the universe.
Let's see.
So you try to build in the universe as you possibly can. kind of the idea behind it. So yeah, I spend a lot of time on there, and we have an alliance of a bunch of us that know each other, gotten to hang out quite a bit online.
Do you want to give out your username on there?
Take a guess.
I'm gonna say that it was given out as your email on the last episode.
Might have something to do with it.
Oh,
Why don't you spell that for
good.
us, Rob?
That's Kesdrix.
EMA.
Kesdrix. I'm on the Boomerang Nebula. In case anybody's interested.
The Boomerang Nebula.
That's the sector name. So in case you're actually looking to join the game at all, that's where I'm at. I help run like the number 2 current alliance on the sector.
You help run.
Well, sort of.
So you manage in your off time of being a manager.
Wait,
And yet
you're
you can't find
surprised?
time to listen to our podcast.
Jackass.
That's because I'm spending hours of my free time on this game.
Oh, my hatred for you knows no bounds.
Air quotes,
you're
free
done.
time.
Zach, what have you been playing?
As an MMORPG.
Not necessarily
MMO.
RPG, just an MMO in general.
Yeah, that's not
Oh,
an RPG by
okay.
any means.
I don't know if this actually counts, but Dead Island, does that count as an MMO? Because
Cricket
I don't
sound
even
there.
know what it is.
No idea.
seriously, nobody's played Dead Island.
It doesn't
Is,
count as
are
a-
there? Is it massively multiplayer? That's the question.
Well, it's minorly multiplayer. You can have 4 people in your party.
that is not massive.
Well, that's as close as it gets.
Well,
'Cause
by math standards, I think anything bigger than 3 is a lot. Is that what I was?
quite frankly, I am with the typically antisocial gamer type. I don't want to have to deal with any of humanity when I'm playing my video games. When I have to deal with them, I find them constantly to be assholes.
Mm-hmm.
And if you're getting in the way of what I'm doing, I don't want to have to be near you. Go away. Leave me alone.
So you do not prefer teabag?
No, I do not.
No, instead he spends his time on an island with zombies.
Yes, quite frankly, I do. I would prefer zombies rather than the rest of humanity.
Interesting.
They at least like to kiss me.
With
What?
tongue.
Good time.
Man,
The
we're
ol-
taking a turn.
There's so many ways to dissect that statement.
Hey, Zing.
I just spent 2 weeks with my girlfriend.
Yeah.
I'd rather spend time on an island with zombies. They at least like to kiss.
Most of humanity sucks. I'm sure that our listeners will agree that most of humanity is not fun to be with. Not everyone. We're actually
I
not
play
so bad.
Edgeworld so I can hang out with those people online.
Yes, with the people that you
'Cause you're
want to hang out
sad.
with.
Yes, it is sad, I
Oh.
know.
That used to be the. Never mind.
This is just gonna get worse. Fuck you.
But I don't know. I guess the closest. What's funny? I guess this is kind of sad. The closest I would rather do with MMOs are like the big shooters.
Mm-hmm.
Like as soon as you go with Halo, like Halo 4, I started playing with a couple of my friends, which is a lot of fun.
I still don't know if I would consider that massively multiplayer though. 'cause
Why not?
How many?
It's
doesn't-
massive,
it's-
and there's multiplayer.
There's a lot of people playing, but I think the limit to number of people you can play with, I think, has
Yeah, like
It's
Dust.
not in the genre, so.
yeah.
Dust, they would consider a massively multiplayer shooter, right?
All right, so it's humanity in small doses. How's that sound?
He definitely does not want to deal with humanity.
Yeah.
All right.
You know what? I changed my answer. The last game I played that's an MMO was Ingress.
Fuck's Ingress.
It's a closed beta that I don't know how I got an invite to. It's from what I can tell, just a cell phone game where it uses the GPS on your phone to create a map of around you where you are, and then creates a virtual game in that area where you I think the storyline was the CERN collider discovered a new type of matter, and somehow now all of a sudden it's all over the world. And
What if the CERN collider really actually discovered a new type of matter,
Well-
and they're using this game to secretly gather data from around the world?
that's kind of the premise of the game.
Isn't Ingress a Google game? Like Google is.
I don't know who made it.
I think Google is the one making it. Somebody Google it.
Rob, come on, you're a Google machine over there.
I think Google is the one
But
funding
the premise of the game, you download it, and then it says you thought you were downloading a game. In reality, we're recruiting people to secretly look for this exotic matter. And then there's a whole bunch of other missions and stuff you can do, and you build portals. But the point is, you actually have to get off your ass and walk 1,000 feet down the block
To play the game,
to collect
you must
the-
live life.
Yeah,
That's
so
not cool.
so I haven't really played much.
It's kind of like the run like Zombie Run, but it's with more interesting stuff.
Listen, it's a really cool concept, and I'm glad that someone's coming up with ideas to get people up and around. But let's be realistic. We are gamers. We like our chairs.
That's true.
We're not going to play this game more than a few minutes. In fact, I haven't touched it in 2 days now, I think. Because it's just, I log on, everything within 100 feet of me kind of like comes to me. And, all right, I'm not going anywhere. I'm just turning it off. So.
Yes, it was put out by Google, and the game has been called a data goldmine for Google.
Probably
How so? I don't know. I pulled up the Wikipedia.
the dark
on it
matter
real
is
quick.
probably Wi-Fi hotspots and.
Well, that's the thing is, if you really want this to be accurate to your location, you need to keep not only your GPS, but also your Wi-Fi turned on, so that you can get the most accurate representation of where you are on the map, which now tells Google where you are at all times of day and night. So yeah, it can help them with their advertisement.
That could only be a good thing for me.
For Google, yeah.
No, for me.
Why?
Because I get lost a lot.
He gets regularly
towns.
kidnapped.
Google, find me.
So if the thing that you're getting lost in on your cell phone is a map of the area you're in, I guess that kind of helps.
It does indeed.
Well, let's continue on with more games here.
I've been playing Secret Worlds. I've been playing SWTOR. What?
We're extending the KOTOR thing to SWTOR now?
That's what they
That's
call
what
it.
it's called.
Crap.
Star Wars: The Old
I never
Republic.
liked KOTOR. It always sounded too much like a maxi pad or a tampon or something to me.
Well, that's suitable for a game where most of the time you spend trying to seduce your NPCs.
Yeah, that's pretty much all I did in that game. I stopped playing. I was excited.
There was another one I was playing. I'll get back to it. You go.
Yeah, I've also been playing The Secret World. Actually, more recently, like I said, I did pick up Torchlight 2, but more recently I've been playing Guild Wars 2. Not a bad experience there. Got a couple friends playing it, so.
And that's made by the same people who made Secret World, right?
No.
It's not.
Guild
are
Wars 2
wrong,
is
sir.
made by ArenaNet, and Secret World is made by Funcom.
Okay.
Funcom. That just sounds like a gaming company that would make fun computer
Well, actually,
games.
if you look up their other games, they do make MMOs, but I think the most successful one, other than The Secret World, was maybe like Anarchy Online, which I've never played. So
All right, so
Ooh, wait.
Oh.
I remember one MMO that I used to play more than I ever did now. It's called Space, and it's brought by Coldfire Studios. That one I actually didn't mind interacting with people on, because they didn't all turn out to be jerks. Just some of them.
there were
That-
people. It's an MMO.
Yeah, that was. It's sort of like Edgeworld, I guess, in that you get your own home planet, your own species that you got to pick from a load on. Each species gets their own specialties and special ships, and like the area where they want to focus on, like either war or nanotech or mining or whatever. And then you went out to different planets, and you could either bioform it to your own species, or after you form an alliance, you can trade planets, because every time you terraform something, it costs you X amount of resources or whatever.
It sounds really complicated.
That's what an MMO is. MMORPG. It's complication.
We have to shorten it down so it's not complicated.
that's interesting. You can save on terraforming.
Yeah, well, if it's something, if say like you need X amount of the air has to be this stage,
A certain
and
percentage of nitrogen,
whatever,
or-
and
But how does that work if you're a different species? You guys just become able to breathe the same stuff?
no, you terraform it, but you can't like live on somebody else's planet.
Even in your alliance, you can't?
No, you can visit it and
Bunch of bullshit.
like stay on your ship, but you can't like
If you
make
can't
money.
mate with each other, how can you possibly have an alliance?
It's not a sexual alliance.
Anyway, so
This is not Mass Effect.
What was the earliest game you played? The earliest MMO you played?
Earliest MMO. Warcraft 2.
No,
that's
MMO.
but
Oh, that's an RTS.
Yeah,
Yep.
it wouldn't
Well, it's-
qualify until
the
World
problem with
War.
MMO is that it can't have really have happened until you got faster internet speeds. So it can't. They
No,
can't,
they
they
had
can't be that
dial-
long ago.
EverQuest and Ultima.
Okay, all right.
Yeah,
No.
I mean,
They were out for
Yeah,
a long
no,
time.
that's true. All right. Sorry. Back up on that. I did play... Oh, shit, what the hell was I...
That's a hard one. Because I think the first
RuneScape.
real true MMO.
Really?
RuneScape. I played it for like 5 days, and I was like, "Fuck this shit. This is so
I
boring."
tried RuneScape. I logged in, logged out, done.
Exactly.
I really can't think of like a true MMO I played before Warcraft. Well, World of Warcraft.
Warcraft was my first too, but when I played Warcraft, I also ended up trying Star Wars Galaxies, The Matrix Online.
I feel like I played something before that and just don't remember.
When I first started just gaming in general,
Same
looking
heroes.
into the MMOs, I found the most obscure. I was young. I couldn't pay for anything. And before that, free-to-play was like almost non-existent.
Yeah.
I was actually like looking online, free-to-play games. And I stumbled upon...
A lot of porn sites.
I actually stumbled upon a game called Tibia, and it's a horrible game. Don't look it up. Don't look. For the most part, my friends and I all regret ever having played this game. But again, I was young. I was looking for something to do. I had my first computer. I was just really trying to play something, and I played this game for a bit, and it was like maybe at the time like 16-bit graphics on MMO.
Ooh.
Like,
Yeah.
it was.
That's almost 3D.
I mean, but it was legitimately MMO. There were a ton of people playing it. I couldn't believe how many people were playing this thing. It was based in Germany, I believe it is, by a company called Sipsoft. Basically, there was no max level. You could just keep leveling. They had some kind of formula that would increase the amount of experience it took for each level, but you could keep leveling. And like when I started playing, the highest level guy on my server was like level 300. It was...
That's how every game should be. Why can't they just have a formula that rationally will scale you up evenly across levels and something to reduce the ability of destroying people of lower
By
level?
the time I stopped playing the game, I maybe reached about level 85, which took a lot of time. Granted, I had nothing but time. I was 12, something like that. But it took a lot of time, and especially if you died. You didn't want to die. If you died, you lost a very large percentage of your own experience, and you could actually downgrade in levels.
But that brings up a fair point. You came on the call this game was free to play, right?
Yeah.
And free to play then was the rare thing,
Yes.
and now it's the common thing.
Yeah. I mean, it was free to play, and there was a way, like, you could pay for it.
Mhm.
There was a premium account, they called it, and you paid either per month or every couple months. I think actually it wasn't even monthly. You paid like $10 and got 3 months of premium account,
Mhm.
and you had access to zones that free-to-play players didn't have. You got a lot of benefits for it. It was definitely worth it, but obviously I couldn't afford it. I was still in school.
That was
so-
$10. That was a lot of those little stick
that was
pretzels.
$10 on
Yeah. That was,
$10 on a computer game. That was unheard of.
that was like a week's worth of lunch.
But
I
Maybe
saved
not
up
for some
and bought
of us.
Raptor myself.
What?
Before my time.
Come on, the jet game that you had, there was like a top-down side-scroller kind of thing.
I was.
I also
thinking
bought
dinosaurs.
Wolfenstein 3D on my own money too.
listen, I was a kid that didn't even get. I didn't know what allowance was. I didn't get any money. I had no money. I went to school and came back home, read a book.
Allowed no.
When I started video gaming, the world ended. But
I stopped reading.
I did. I really did. I used to
don't tell
read
me
all
that.
the time.
Don't tell me that.
Well, I think that brings us to the next logical step, which is the free-to-play games.
Yeah, free to play was rare. Like you said, now it's more of a commonplace thing.
I think maybe in Japan it was a lot bigger than it was here for a while.
Oh,
I don't know. They pay for a lot of shit.
Yeah, but it was actually they've done a study, I believe, and that's where the free to play model almost came from for us.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
'Cause
when
it
they were
works over
making
there.
Diablo 3, they were thinking about something like that because out there it was more common to get the game actually for free and spend all this money after the game was released for things that you wanted.
Yeah.
So
You pay to choose, you know?
yeah, exactly. So it started becoming a big thing out there, and they thought to try it here, and when they started to try it here, I'm guessing it's turning out successful, because where a lot of people think that, oh, a game's going free to play, it's not doing so well, it's actually quite the opposite. They're trying out a new model, which seems to work better for them.
And you know what I think really proves that it's going to work here? Facebook. Facebook proved that free-to-play will work here because...
Actually, Zynga's closing down a lot of their games.
Because they made a lot of shitty games.
Zynga just stopped producing quality stuff.
Well, no, if you have free-to-play Star Wars The Old Republic and free-to-play Farmville...
It's much different than a Flash game. The thing is, let's talk about
But you're
Farmville.
saying Facebook is what
started
you
it.
just saying?
Yeah, but think about this for a minute, right? Farmville came out,
Okay.
and the first year Zynga put out their profit reports, they were $1 billion company.
Yeah, don't get me wrong, they made a shit ton of money off of nothing,
Yeah.
but...
And that's where people, they say, all right, well, if Zynga can make $1 billion on a Flash game for free, clearly we can produce I'm going to use air quotes, quality game and give it out for free and make money.
I guess what it comes down to is that people don't mind spending 99 cents, $1. They don't realize how much money they end up spending in the long run, whereas someone will go $15 a month.
Yeah, well, when you're
They don't-
playing the game and you want to get that next advancement, and you're like, all right, it's going to take me 20 hours of grinding experience and doing missions, or
$1.
I can spend $5. I'm going to spend $5.
And it also depends on what the item is. Like, okay,
I grind
so
20 hours every single time.
sometimes I play Sims, right?
Mhm.
You're playing Sims, which had the kind of the microtransaction
that's why I
model
save
built into
money.
it,
Yeah.
right? And they have these advertisements where they want you to buy like specific clothing sets for like $5, and I'm not gonna buy that shit. But I know there's people who do buy that shit.
I can get a real pair of pants for $5. Old Navy.
Listen, you're not the target demographic for this game. All I'm saying is that microtransaction though exists also in like the secret world,
Yep.
where they don't make you pay for things that require you to win. But if you want like the extra clothing sets, you pay for that shit.
Even Blizzard started doing it with Warcraft,
They just
where
did it in a different way.
yeah, you can buy things from them, but nothing that will change mechanics.
Right.
Except for there's a certain mount you could buy that I think gave you like an extra
10%
10 or 20% on your speed. Which when you're talking about going from 280% to 300%, it doesn't really
Big
matter.
whoop, I get there first, but I still gotta summon everybody there.
So, you could buy cool shit, but it's only for looks.
Yeah. Which though, if you think about it, a lot of people care about how their character looks. So you spend just enough to get it to where you want it to be.
Yeah, I can't tell you, when I started playing MapleStory,
Good win.
I was
Haven't heard that
very
in a while.
tempted to start buying cool looking shit because I was like, I am never gonna earn that.
Nope.
And that's the whole point, though, is they put it out of your reach on purpose. And that microtransaction model I actually enjoy because I'm less prone to buy the cool-looking outfit than most people are.
Mm-hmm.
And if I do, it's always the same outfit that I think looks cool, no matter what character it is. Whereas, like, the Star Wars model, I'm a subscriber right now, and I gotta tell you that I don't know if I'm gonna keep on going.
I canceled mine.
Well, how far have you gone in Star Wars? Because the thing that Star Wars is doing, they're doing their free-to-play a little bit different. With their free-to-play, they're actually restricting you for certain things.
Yeah.
And for the most part, if you spend hours upon hours playing a game, then a free-to-play model like Star Wars is probably not for you because it almost limits the amount of time you can play. It almost limits what you can do while you're playing. So you'd probably be more prone to paying for a subscription. Because the free-to-play, they don't take anything away from you as far as storyline. But when you get towards the end of it, where there's nothing else to do but do like end game content, if that's what you want to do, you can't do it on a free-to-play model. You
Right.
have to pay. So they do take things away. They take away how frequently you can travel between worlds. Again, that's something that would almost limit your time of playing, because if you're playing on Tatooine and you need to go to Alderaan and all of a sudden this says, well, you traveled twice today, so you can't travel anymore. You're stuck on the planet and you can't move, so you just don't play.
Yeah, and if you happen to go to a zone where, let's say you're out of the experience range and you're just finishing up a random quest line, you're stuck on a planet you can't do anything on.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I get why they decided to do it, but for me, even though I'm a full subscriber and I have full access to everything, honestly, the story is not good enough to carry the rest of the game. And
For
the
Star
end credit-
Wars?
Yeah.
Really? When you started playing that game, you were enthralled by it.
I was until I got to the more to like the 25 to 30 level quest
Always.
range.
All right, see, I'm not exactly gonna follow you right now because I had this discussion with Adam at work. Apparently, I was always playing on the wrong planet all the way through. I was always playing on like a planet ahead of where I should have been.
Yeah,
Okay.
I don't
So
know.
the quest lines got a little twisted for me.
Basically, there's the Nar Shaddaa planet, which is like kind of like the mid-level planet for all the different characters.
Like level 7, 8.
No.
No, it's,
No, that was Jared's level. It was actually a level like 18 area.
For the most part, if you know whatever planet was supposed to be, I was usually like 2 levels below.
okay. So I tried Dark Side and I tried Light Side, right? And I played different characters in both, and I tried doing one character on the Republic side on Light, and on the Sith side on Dark Side, and just some of the character choices aren't believable, and some of the character conversations are stupid.
Yeah, there were a couple of things that I did notice. Like sometimes a dark side option was just kind of ridiculous.
Yes.
Like we know dark side, that emotion and all that stuff. We know what dark side is, but they would go to an extreme. You would kill somebody outright for something that a Sith would have probably just beat the crap out of them for.
Yeah, it's like, I'm evil!
Like, it was just so extreme. And the same thing with the light side choices. All of a sudden, you were this divine person that it was just ridiculous how extreme they went with the choices.
And the other part of that is that because it's all fully voice acted, it was actually a flaw, because if you were the same class, the same sex, you would have the same voice.
Same voice.
And the same options no matter what character you were playing.
So we could all be playing. He could be a Jedi Knight, I could be a Jedi Sentinel, and we could all be built different ways. And you had 4-player groups, I believe it was.
Yeah.
So we had 2 Jedi Sentinels and 2 troopers, let's say. So everyone goes into a conversation. It rolled an imaginary dice to find out who spoke for the group, but because everything was voice acted, like you said, you either had the 2 voices which were the same for the Jedi Knights, and the 2 voices which were the same for the troopers. Your character could not sound different from another character unless it was a different...
If you play this game enough, it just sounds like Beaker from Sesame Street talking to himself.
Kind of, and like beyond that, like
They could have at least made races sound different. The
Or
races
made-
don't even affect it.
or made the classes play different, because if you play a Jedi Knight or a Sith warrior or
Yeah, Sith Warrior. Yeah.
or Sith warrior, the classes played exactly the same except for like maybe 1 or 2 skills. And they just changed the names out.
Yeah,
And the same thing with
force stasis and force choke.
Yeah.
Generally, you put your hand in the air and the person levitates.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I understand. I
And was
understand
crushed by
balancing
force.
out
Yes.
the classes on either side. I kind of get that, but I agree. I don't think they really put enough uniqueness in each character.
I enjoyed it while it lasted, but for me, that was just enough to get through the storyline. I would have been perfectly fine with a free-to-play model.
Yeah. See,
I would be perfectly fine with a single player game
Yeah,
with
that
with,
too.
with with shorter leveling, because like the problem is that since it is a MMO, they want you to get to the level cap. So the story is stretched out, and I got to the point in those mid-level planets where I'm like, why am I running over this fucking planet to track down some random dude? There shouldn't be all these side quests. So side quests were...
So turning it into an MMO wasn't exactly the right move, but
No.
I do think that they did a couple of right things that other MMOs should pick up from.
Okay,
I
yeah.
liked the side quests thing. I think that was a
That's
good
what I was
mechanic.
going to get into. Like, for example, a lot of people, you play an MMO, you click to get a quest, the quest says, kill this, get this. With Star Wars, it was, do this, and then you could stumble upon a bonus that
Yeah.
you could choose to do or not to do.
Yeah.
And that would probably be something along like kill 25 of this.
Yes,
You
I like
know,
that a lot too.
And it's not go back. It's not go collect 10 feathers. Bring them back to me. Thank you for the 10 feathers.
Yeah,
go get
it
me 10
almost
pelts.
breaks the
Bring them
monotony.
back to me.
that.
So yeah, it almost
much.
breaks the monotony of an MMO, which you get drawn into because you want to spend the time with the game.
Yeah.
But at least this was optional. You didn't have to kill the 25 things. You didn't.
And companions were like a huge boon for me in terms of a character, just having someone else that you can interact with inside the story, and another opinion that you have inside the story.
Well, let's just face it. Twi'leks are hot.
Yeah, they kind of.
Who didn't want a nail mission?
Uh,
I'm just saying.
she's a voice in the game too.
I
I just
know.
don't know who
I
she
know.
is. But
I'm just. It's out
See,
there.
now I want to go play the fucking game.
But
That's how it works.
Either
We join
way,
back in.
there are pros and cons of it, and while it shouldn't have been an MMO, I do think that maybe you can get some good out
Well-
of it for other MMOs, and maybe in the future.
It's not that I think it should have been MMOs. There's certain things that they shouldn't have, like the need to have the quests go all the way to level cap. I'm not sure was the best choice.
I don't follow. What?
Like,
Mike wanted the storyline to
See-
be over before the level cap.
I don't have a problem with that, but mainly because of how I went about playing the game. The game actually had almost like
Wait, hang on 1 second. He just said, and I didn't get this till he translated, I want my rewards without playing the game.
pretty much.
no, I want to play the game. I just don't want to. I have no interest in the end game. My only interest in that game is the story.
So
Well,
get it over
Again,
with already.
This is how I took my approach to the game, and maybe why I didn't feel like it did for him. To me, I believe there's actually two storylines in the game. You have your character storyline, which is obviously I think the one that he's more interested in. But then
Me
you
too.
also have the storyline of what's happening in the universe. You have each planet you go to has a storyline as well, and you continue through those storylines. There's a lot going on there. This is the Old Republic. There is a lot going on.
Well, luckily Star
That's
Wars,
confusing.
yeah, Star Wars has enough canon that they can make a universe and just have you
Well, like,
sandbox it.
what I'm saying is, obviously, like, your character, your main character, you want to see his progression or her progression. You want to see that through, but there's a lot of other things going on and stuff that people are probably more interested in. For example, where was Revan in all this? Well, he has a part in the game, and it is somewhat tied to your storyline, but it's also somewhat tied to the world, the galaxy, everything that Star Wars is.
And that's something I'm getting now because I'm actually starting to play Knights of the Old Republic.
Mhm.
Just because I like, oh, I don't really get what's going on, so I'm going to go back and play it. But if you're going to release an MMO, then that's a major problem if you're relying so heavily on canon that not everyone has consumed.
Well, that's why a lot of the earlier worlds have a lot of random NPCs that don't seem to serve a purpose, except for they tell you a random story.
Yeah.
Like
Actually,
if you go around and speak to all the NPCs, they do piece together a lot of the story that you wouldn't have known if you hadn't played the other games.
And then exactly, even with the questline, planet quest lines and stuff like that, if you, again, everything is voiced, so as long as you're not skipping through that stuff and you actually pay attention, they do tell you a little bit. You do go through a little section of Revan, you do go a little section of all, stuff like that, but you have to pay attention, and some people are playing an MMO not to deal with that. But storyline was a big driving force for this, and I think what they felt was that you pay attention to storyline, that'll hold you through the game no matter what's going on.
yeah.
I guess that's true, and I do have to say Terrace has a lot more emotional impact now that I've played some of Knights of the Old Republic.
Mm-hmm. When you see it destroyed,
Let me see
and you
destroyed.
come back and it's like a wilderness. Good times. But you know what? Let's treat Star Wars right now like a used hooker and get off of it.
Can we
Uh,
talk
move
about
on
one
to
other
something
thing,
else.
but it's Star Wars related, but not Star Wars: The Old Republic?
Yes.
Star Wars Galaxies. The thing that they should have kept from Star Wars Galaxies and put it in every MMO
Mhm.
is your ability to build your own home.
Yeah, I've always been, let's say, a proponent of real estate in these games.
Some games are doing that, actually. DC Universe Online just released a downloadable content for their game called Home Turf. That's giving people the ability to have their own headquarters and stuff like that. Champions Online, also another superhero-based game, gives you the ability to create your own headquarters to a certain extent, which both games are free to play. So look them up if you want. Spend some time with them. DLC obviously not free.
Yeah.
But there are plenty of options. So there are some games doing that, not to as great of an extent as maybe a previous game, City of Heroes, another hero game, which no longer exists. They actually had the ability to create your own headquarters as well, to a great deal. I've seen people create multiple levels, and they've had headquarters that I couldn't even dream of creating myself. I didn't even know that was capable within the game, but it was.
I think there's an episode of The Guild about that.
But it's like I think they're really missing out though, because it's like the Minecraft addiction of building your own place, you know?
Well, I think a lot of MMOs now, more recently, are really digging into the customization thing. Fully being able to customize your own experience.
And those microtransactions.
Yeah, well, that's the whole thing. But, yeah, they're aiming towards the customization, maybe even because of those microtransactions. They get you hooked in with the ability to customize, and then they say, well, you can only get this if you pay this.
Yes. And as I said, for some things that's understandable, you know? But I really feel like they missed the boat in Star Wars by just, like, not giving the ability to customize it inside of your ship. Some, like, posters and shit. That's all I'm saying.
Posters?
That's the thing, you were posters?
And shit.
Not
Well,
like
it's not
armor,
like you had-
shielding, rooms.
Alright, let's be
I want a
honest
lava
here.
lamp.
What character were you playing?
My first one, my second one.
The one you got your ship.
Oh, the Sith.
Okay, how much ship did you actually have?
Ship or shit?
Like 3 rooms.
Exactly. There wasn't anything to customize anyway.
It was tiny. It was tiny.
I forgot what they called it, but I pretty much had the Ebon Hawk.
Yeah.
Or the Millennium Falcon.
Okay, yeah.
Or the any other awesome smuggler ship. But again, like, there's no point in having a ship aside from a place to return to go somewhere else, because
Well,
if
there was space combat.
Space combat.
yeah, but you first of all, that was fucking pointless. Absolutely fucking pointless.
Experience
Don't
points.
get me wrong. I still did it constantly, but it was completely
pointless. It was fun.
No, it was, even while I was doing it, I was like, why am I doing this?
Okay, it wasn't pointless because you know how many angry people there would have been if there was not space combat.
Fuck them. Three experience points apiece for fighting Imperial cruisers? No, it's just not right. No matter what level you are in the game, you're fighting Imperial cruisers and TIE fighters and the same guys.
We did it at like level 1.
Yeah, and it's like you're getting 3 experience points every time. I'm like, screw it, it's not worth it. I'm not risking my life for these guys. Well, my original point was something about the ship.
Oh, you're drunk.
There were like, well, I'm not drinking right now. There were like 3 rooms in the ship. You can go to your bedroom and do nothing, right? Just like in Mass Effect, you can just go there and kind of like look at your fish.
Hey, your companions spent time in different rooms.
Okay, my companions stood in different rooms.
Yes.
And actually most of them on my ship stood in the hallway.
Rob's got a headache.
They stood in the hallway. Literally just stood
He's
there
like,
waiting
my
for me.
MMO is so simple compared to all this mumbo jumbo.
Alright, but again, I think maybe we do
Yeah,
need to
we
get
need to get
off
away from
of
Star Wars.
Star Wars.
Rob,
Anybody else?
what are the transactions like in Edgeworld? What are you paying for?
Or what can you pay for? He's not paying for anything.
No, I grind the hell
You
out
know
of
him
it.
already.
Yeah, know him already.
Basically, I mean, you purchase platinum. Platinum is spent for different items. The different items are different equipment that you can use to upgrade your defenses, or you can different what they call cores, which are basically
Would
the
you
materials.
consider it almost a pay to win? Meaning, like, you're that much better than somebody else if you just paid for stuff?
Well, see, here's the kicker is that every day when you sign in, you have a lottery ticket. So that keeps you signing in every single day, obviously. And you also get progressive rewards if you sign in, every single day for X amount of days in a row. You go up the rewards chain as well. So they keep you coming back that way.
Mm-hmm.
The lottery ticket allows you to win items that you would only otherwise be able to get by purchasing. which is a randomly generated thing that you get,
Yeah.
once per
And then when you
day.
get those items and you use them and see the effect, it's much more likely you're going to want to purchase those items now.
Yes, but not all those items are the type thing that it's a one-time use shot only. So in other words, you have what's called cores, which are basically the materials to make certain types of troops.
Well, I guess more of my question is, do you think, like, those microtransactions in that game, do you think they're, like, fair? Do you think that, I mean, obviously you go through it without having to pay anything, but are they more something that you feel, think other people feel they would have to purchase, or?
I got lucky. In that one of my lottery drawings, I won was called the Decimator Rack.
That sounds awesome.
It does.
A rack that decimates.
I want to buy
so
one.
The materials in that enabled me to create
three.
the strongest units in the game, which I would not have otherwise been able to have made without making a purchase. Most other people at my level, if they get that, they get like 1. The rack gave me 5. So, therefore, I'm able to compete with people who have paid money for these things. That would have cost, let's say 100 if it was on sale, of course, because I know sales. 100 platinum would have cost for about $12.
Alright, so aside from the fact that you got lucky, you would almost feel that you would have had to pay to compete with some people.
Almost certainly. If you don't have a decimator, you can't really compete on the map. You need at least 1.
I want a decimator now.
Decimator equal
I
win.
just want one because it's called the Decimator.
I'm
Yeah,
level
right.
3. Can I have that?
You actually
Can
you
I have decimator?
Alright, so you can have a good amount of fun without having to pay, but then eventually you'd almost feel like you had to.
Yes, I mean, yeah. Once you want to start competing with the quote unquote big boys on the map, yeah.
Unless you get lucky enough to get swept into a big union in that game.
But I think
Alliance.
Alliance,
yeah.
whatever.
I think this comes down to the central point, though, of like MMOs is that competitive nature that drives people towards the end game. Like, I guess for Edgeworld, it's a little bit more pertinent because it's like the entire point of the game, right?
Well, I mean, you can also attack other players without being on the map, also directly. Like you don't have to attack, the other alliance's land. You can attack another player from your base to their base, and you don't have to be on the map for that at all.
And is as significant of a difference between
You don't get it. You get some rewards for it, but it's not it's not the pride of having your alliance gains power by having more land. So
right. But my question is that as drastic of a power difference between pairs and non-pairs?
I guess
Do
it would
you see
depend
a
on how much you
billion
pay.
decimators?
Yeah. Well,
I guess that's what it comes down to, right?
It also depends on how long you're willing to play. If I'm willing to play 20 hours versus your 1 hour, if you're willing to spend $10 for that 1 hour, and I'm willing to play 20 hours, I can pretty much come out on an even pace as you. So
I see what you're saying. So you'd have to give up your life in order to compete with me, who spends $10.
So what does that
Something-
equate to?
something.
50 cents an
But
hour
it's
playing?
also, I think, to his point more that are you going to spend $10 on something that you're only going to play a little bit, where he's spending that much time.
Let me
on...
put it this way: if you're making $115,000 a year and you have an hour on your break and you're stressed out to the max,
I'm buying a fucking decimator.
I'm buying a fucking decimator.
I would agree with you there, but how many of you listeners agree with that? I don't know.
yeah, no, but the option's there. I mean, you can do it if you're willing to sink the time into it, but if you're not willing to sink the time into it, then yeah, you're gonna drop
It's like
money.
Secret World with the XP items that basically there's items you can buy that will make you gain XP a lot faster.
I was a sucker, and I bought the lifetime subscription when the game first, before the game even launched.
Loser.
Because previously I felt, alright, well, I was going to spend $15 a month after about a year to make your money's worth, I did play for a good amount of time, still do, but what happens is that the game went free to play. Because the game went free to play, though, I do get subscriber benefits without having to shell out any extra money. So because of that, I don't really know too much of the paying side of that anymore, because
Gotcha.
I paid all up front. They give me a certain amount of points every month, just as they would to someone who pays. So I get to get all that benefit without shelling out any extra money.
That brings up an interesting point. for me, which I think we should talk about real quick, is Kickstarter MMOs.
There goes the Kickstarter.
It had to happen. We got through a whole episode without him mentioning one. So
Well, I mean, Paizo's and Goblin Works Pathfinder MMO just got funded.
Mhm.
And I was reading the reward scale, and the part of the reward scale is that you get subscriber benefits, like for like 2 free months. And they're coming out with a subscription-based MMO in this market, and I'm wondering if you guys think that they will actually succeed.
I don't think it's a matter of success. I just think that they'll eventually switch models as well. I think that what'll happen is they'll come out with the subscription. You'll get that wave of people who are interested, so they'll go in for it and they'll get their friends and so on. And then eventually they'll just say, hey, if I go free to play, I get that many more people that are willing to try. And then maybe they'll spend $1, $2, $3, $5, $20 over the course of time. And it, like I said, that model tends to work for a lot of people, so they just might start one way and switch over.
yeah, and this is Pathfinder.
Yeah.
It's going to be based on that system.
Yes.
I think that if they start out as a typical game where you buy the game, you pay the fee, I think because it's got the Pathfinder name on it, they will attract a considerable amount of people at the beginning.
Okay.
Not as big as, millions and millions of copies that a Worldcraft would do.
You'll take and I don't want to stay on the topic too long, but you'll take like Star Wars. Obviously, someone saw an MMO with Star Wars and they were like, I'm a Star Wars fan, I'll give this a shot.
Mhm.
Yes.
So it's kind of going to work the same way. You'll get that wave. You tried it. You just waited
Yeah.
to like a week before it went free to play, but paid for it.
I got like 2 months.
But
I got
you'll
my
get that whole
750
wave
coins.
of people who see the name or just want to give it a shot, and that'll cause a big rush, as with most games. They get this real big rush in the beginning, and then it starts to die out. And whether it's because it dies out or they just think that the free-to-play model works, I think they'll just switch.
I don't know, though. Like, I was reading all the materials on it. It took them a long... First of all, it was for $1 million was their funding goal, which is a lot of fucking money.
Yeah, but Paizo is a pretty big name.
They made it like 2 days before it happened, but before the goal's up.
I just think that the way the market is going, that subscriptions... I don't honestly know how even WoW is still doing it. But
WoW was doing it because the sheer volume of
Yeah.
subscribers.
I know.
They could lose 90%
Well, I
of
mean,
their subscribers
they
and still make
probably
money.
are just like we were, spending 6 years on the game and just don't want to stop because
They don't want to
already,
stop. They don't want to give it up.
Yeah, they've already spent so much time on it. I mean,
I think about it every day.
I gave it up. I gave it up, but clearly I'm still playing MMOs. I'm trying to fill the void. But I think that it's just the way the market is now, and that subscription is not something that is going to last much longer.
I don't see how it can, because you know what? What it comes down to is a lot of these games, yeah, I can play them for like 60 or 70 hours or whatever to get what I gotta get done. At the same time, I can also just play a one-time $60 game for a pretty long time on Xbox.
Well, and that's why I was going to mention, Guild Wars. Guild Wars 2 is an MMO. It's not exactly free to play, because you do have to buy the game.
Mhm.
You spend $60 on a game like you would on a console game, and then you own it.
Yeah.
You can play as much as you want once you own it. But it's an MMO. You play online with other people. There are microtransactions in the game, mostly nothing that affects you. And there's some boosts, experience boosts and stuff like that, but there is PvP in the game, so I guess that's why there's no competitive than the other person.
Yep.
So in general, you can enjoy the game completely by paying your $60 up front, and then that's it. And maybe they'll come out with downloadable content. Downloadable content is another thing that obviously has been growing over time.
Yeah.
Yeah,
more
it's
and more
gotten-
people are throwing downloadable content out there.
I'll throw it back to Dragon Age with that. I think they did a great job with downloadable content.
Yeah.
Dragon Age 1, you mean, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because when I was playing the game like crazy, and then I was like, oh my god, I can download something new? A new area? I'll go take over
and
that tower.
I think that's
Yeah.
I think that's something that's even why the driving force of free to play is so much bigger, because people are seeing that they'll spend a little bit extra money to keep the game going. You know, maybe not so much up front, no, not so much per month, but if you offer like what DC Universe Online does, you have a free to play. They release downloadable content every couple months, maybe every month or something like that. It's like $10 for the downloadable content. Well, I want to be able to create my home turf, so I spend $10 on that. I want to be able to have this power set, so I spend $10 on that.
But what that comes down to is, I think, what's happening to the gaming industry in general now is there's a general distrust. And not even just gaming industry, the music industry, the movie industry. There's a general distrust of purchasing something without knowing what it's like first. Because people have been screwed so many times by something they've been told is great that they purchase.
I could agree with that, because I'm not going to buy a lifetime subscription to anything ever again, because I paid for a lifetime subscription to Champions Online, which I do like the fact that I do get those subscription benefits, and for the Secret World. And while I do enjoy both games, the fact that they went to free-to-play after I bought a lifetime subscription is kind of disheartening.
Yeah.
You don't want to spend that money, and then the game just, you know...
At the same time, you will have those subscriber benefits for the history of the game.
Oh, yeah.
So
like
even if it goes free to play, as long as it sticks around for a couple of years, it'll be worth it.
Well, yeah, that's what I'm saying. It's not it's not horrible, but, you know, you expected to have a game that was a subscription-based game, and...
But you bought Secret World before it even came out.
Yes.
It could have sucked.
Well, I was on the beta, so...
But still, it could have ended up screwing the pooch by the end.
Well, if you talk to a lot of people, they think it did. But,
Well, see, Adam's in a lucky position because he gets invited to a lot of closed betas.
yeah, I get invited to betas, so I do get to try games before I decide on making the purchase. And I've only made those purchases because I've had other friends with me that are like, oh, yeah, we'll spend a considerable amount of time on this game. So we go into it together, and we play.
So you have friends.
I do have friends. I do have friends. A very small group, but...
That was,
We need to be better friends, and then these games will be worth it.
but
Well,
that's,
look, I've tried
I'm in
with
his
Jared.
guilds for everything.
I've tried with Jared, and you know how that worked out? The second I logged on to Star Wars and he logged on to Star Wars, something came up and he had to go.
Yeah,
Yes.
that's usually it.
That didn't even work.
We've been trying, we've worked together for, 4 years now? Something like that? We've
tried
been trying to
with
play
WoW.
games. We did okay with WoW for a while,
It was
right?
only because that sucked our souls into playing every day.
Me and Carrie transferred servers. We played with them for a while, but the same thing always happens. Life.
Yeah.
My schedule and the guild's schedule
Rob,
don't mingle.
you and I need to be better friends and play video games together.
Wait, no, Rob can't have a life.
I don't play the same games as you, though, Mike.
If
Rob,
you want to
can you
start
please
playing,
stop with this edge roll bullshit?
Rob is a strategist.
Guys,
Stop playing with your
friends
strategy.
are overrated.
Stop playing with your Slovakia
Guild-based
lady.
stuff.
Be happy enough you guys can get together for this.
That's true.
we are
Sure.
very happy for this. All right, well, we've got less than 10 minutes here. If we want to keep it like an hour, and I actually have an interesting question I want to pose here that I just thought of.
Really?
Yeah, I usually only think of cool things when I'm on the toilet, so it's weird. I may have just pooped.
Well, you are kind of shitting something out right now.
Yeah.
Haha.
Verbal crap.
Shut up.
Oh.
I'll give you maybe 5 seconds to think about this. If you had the ability, what game would you want to see as an MMO? If you could create your own MMO,
World of Darkness Online. Ba-doom-psh.
you're blah. Rob, and don't say Edgeworld MMO. Any type of MMO.
What would be your ideal game? Like, what would you want to see? Is it
Well, I think-
something that already exists?
I think Edgeworld
Dude.
is his ideal game.
Well, I mean, I totally moved away. To be honest, I moved away from the whole format in general. I mean, your typical MMOs like that. Like,
But now's your chance to create one that works for Rob.
I'm more of a strategy style gamer, though. So that's the reason why my lack of contribution so far, and my talking about kind of a strategy based game.
Well, it's still an MMO.
Yeah, I mean,
Well,
it worked.
It is, but
What if it's an MMO where you get to run a company and cut wages and increase profit margins?
Or what
Wait,
if it's
he
like...
gets to live life in...
Yeah, he would love that.
What if it's like Star MMO, like Edgeworld, but more advanced? That
Or-
would consume your
Or
entire
like
soul.
the new StarCraft game was supposed to be and wasn't.
Well, StarCraft was awesome, but it's a strategy though. I mean, it's just a different game format. Like,
No, it's still a massively multiplayer online game though.
how?
Well, you're getting the chance to make it.
That's the problem. I don't know how to do that.
Well,
I don't make games. If I could do that, I'd be not sitting here right now.
What game would you like to play with more people?
Like, actively.
All right, you know what? Let's move away from Rob and we'll see if he can figure it out before we come back to him, which we will. So Zach,
Well, actually, one of the games that I am
doesn't
kind
have
of
people.
was looking forward to is being made, or partially. It's like there's two of them. One is DayZ, the other is Warzy. It's zombie survival, and it's actually throwing into, I use quotation marks, real life situation for zombie survival. You have to think about food. You have to, in some of the mods, you have to actually think about heat. Your
you don't
body
need air
temperature.
quotes for real.
For real zombies.
It's gonna happen.
Eventually, yes, but right now, we need air quotes. For now.
That's
But you have to actually, ammo is a limited capacity.
That can be
it's
a lot of fun. I can see
I
that.
love that about a game when they do limited ammo. I love that as long as they're not extreme with it.
Well,
I
it's
love when they
survival,
do
you
that.
know, just like you said.
yeah, it's true survival. It's not like Left 4 Dead survival where around every corner there's
There's a
more
safe
guns
house.
or whatever. Yeah, there's safe houses every
Someone
300
magically
feet.
left stuff for you.
But so that's kind of what I'm looking forward to.
Do you think they're gonna have like a Foot Locker in that game that follows you through no matter where you go and has all your stuff in it?
No.
Oh, that's what I liked about Resident Evil. My crap was always with me in a Foot Locker in a room with no zombies.
the magic footlocker.
The magic Foot
It
Locker.
somehow had all my guns. I deposited all the way over there.
So that's
Magic is real.
I think that'll be a lot of fun.
Mike,
As
what do you want?
frustrating
So,
as
As
it
much
is.
as I joked about it, I'm like, when I say the World of Darkness MMO, I don't mean like that's sort of based off the game, but what they're talking about doing with the game is making a completely open world system where political power counts based off what you do with your character and deals you make and stuff like that. I think that's a really cool concept. At this point, I'm not really confident they'll execute it well.
Well, I mean, there's a game out now, Terra. It's also going free to play in February. They have a huge political system.
Oh yeah?
Huge political system. Maybe try it out once it goes free to play, see what it's like. I haven't really spent too much time on the political end of that. Just, tried it out. But it's pretty cool. But yeah, they have a political system, so maybe you can look into that. And maybe they can put something like that in other games.
Yeah, I mean, like, it's just the idea that not everything you do is based off of grinding and stats and quests.
I like grinding.
so much.
How can you like grinding? It's just fighting over and over again.
Competitive motions. I enjoy those.
Click.
How can you like grinding? It's just fighting over and over again. Play Call of Duty, kill over and over again.
Oh, I don't play Call of Duty.
No, Mike.
But he does.
Mike does not play Call of Duty. Mike does not play Halo. Mike does not play
Neither do
anything
I.
involving an attention span.
And eye-hand
Neither
coordination.
I do MMOs. That's what I do. So.
Well, no, I don't involve anything that requires like turning my brain off to the point where I'm just a numb zombie repeating motions.
Yeah, if you can't let your brain turn off in an FPS, you lose. That's the thing.
Yeah, see, like even when
You
I
have to just react.
unless I'm truly exhausted, even when I sleep, my brain's doing all sorts of weird things.
It's wired up nice.
So you didn't play a warlock in World of Warcraft because that was just
Oh
banging
God,
your head
no!
against the keyboard.
God no! No, he played a warrior,
I played a warrior and I played a rogue.
and then he got to Booty Bay and quit.
Yeah, I got to the point where I was like, collect 25 bandanas. I'm like, I just collected 30 bandanas. I'm not collecting any more fucking bandanas! Blizzard! Collect your own fucking bandanas.
They've got a bandana fetish, I think. Adam, what about you?
I'm fairly simple. I love me some Marvel superheroes, and they're actually working on the Marvel Heroes MMO, so I'm in the beta for that, and as much as I can say. But yeah, pretty simple, and I like the fact that that's coming out, and that was something I was looking forward to, and they're making it a reality.
Can you say if you're enjoying it?
I can actually, and I am, but I might be a little biased because I am a huge fan of Marvel. I do like the fact that I get to give feedback on it, and I do think that it will do well. They have announced that they're scheduled to release sometime in spring, though I think they'll push it back because I don't think they're ready for that, which I can't say since I'm saying it. But I am very, very happy with what they plan on doing, and what they have now. I do think that it will do well, and it's being built from the ground up as a free-to-play, which is something we were talking about, so you can, when it comes out, play for free. And like I said, it was something I really wanted, and they're making it happen. So.
And you never know, maybe they got some Disney money to make those improvements a little bit faster.
It's possible.
Take over the globe.
Like the Secret World, they got NVIDIA in on it, and NVIDIA completely took over their graphics.
Which is the reason why my computer can't run it now.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah.
Pretty much. It's also the first game that can only run certain things that the new NVIDIA graphics cards can do. Some other games can't even use this special function, and it's the only game that can because NVIDIA.
And now I need a new computer.
Well, that's the whole point of video games, is drive forward computer technology. So,
But-
And I
Okay,
actually
okay.
had a conversation with another friend of mine that gaming is actually one of the biggest things that pushes some of this technology forward because they're constantly pushing the technology. So
always has been.
If one more genre that would be pretty neat to have I think, an MMORPG, or at least MMO, say a giant world mystery. Say,
Secret World.
what?
The Secret World.
The Secret World?
Yeah, they have a lot of investigation type stuff.
It is named The Secret World.
Yeah.
Well, I know it's secrets, but I'm talking about like a murder mystery. Does it have like murder mysteries?
They
Like
have
a
all
dinner
kind-
hour?
I mean, I do see where you're coming from, but I'm saying
a giant clue game.
you can give the Secret World a shot. They have a lot of
They
investigation.
could just have a clue MMO.
like
Yeah, well, there you go.
investigations to the point where, get this, the game doesn't tell you where to go with a little marker on the map.
Yeah, that is true. And that's one of the things I really like about it, is that it's not like kind of mindless. You kind of gotta explore.
Isn't that
things
funny
out.
though? We're at the point where to make something a mystery, all you have to do is not tell someone the answer.
Not give them the answer.
Well, I
Yeah.
mean, like, technically they give you the answer, but you have to figure it out.
You gotta figure it
Yeah,
out.
it's still somewhat of a puzzle.
Yeah,
no.
I have one plug left to make, real quick though. Sorry.
I think
I
you
was,
still had something.
to add on to it, I was going to say, to have it a giant world thing, have it so no individual player could ever finish it. I'm talking about
You
a
have to
giant
work
mystery
together.
that every player, say
Wow,
every
is
time
that-
they find something, they put all the pieces together to make their own
So you
giant
want to make
puzzle.
an MMO at a loss.
That will lead to suicides.
There's
Just-
no
Yeah,
real
so-
answer.
I
Well,
forget
so the world has to work together, so none of your
Yeah.
asshole people can
Yeah.
actually play this game.
the only way if you sabotage
Congress.
No, I would still play it just to fuck with people, because that's the kind of guy I am.
Exactly, and there will be people like that.
The game will have an 8%
There's
approval
always
rating.
the answer.
Anyway,
All right, no,
Go ahead, Mike.
I actually have a good thought on this one. I think, Rock Band. I would like to see a game like Rock Band where you can travel to destinations like servers or like
Form a
different
band.
lands. Actually play with other people who aren't in the room with you, audition for bands, play certain venues. I think that would be a really cool game.
That's called being a musician.
Yeah, but
But in a game, you don't
but
have
since
to do it
none
for
of us
real.
have any musical talent, but I can press those 5 buttons and strum
I
that
can't.
little stick. I know, Mike.
You also don't have to actually have the money to travel the world.
Yeah, you just have to have $100 to buy the game.
no,
50.
but that's a good point. Is that the MMO market isn't really tapped out yet, because like they're only starting with MMO strategies, really.
Yeah, all they've been doing is the typical RPGs or action games, and they haven't
Or as
gotten into.
everyone else would say, oh, everything is a clone of itself. You know,
Yeah.
everything is
Well,
cloning
they
each other.
they just really got
They
off
always
the ground with MMO shooters, right? Like hardcore.
Yeah, I played a game, mostly PvP, but there was a game called Global Agenda. It's on Steam, free to play.
Yes, Dean.
And it's basically a shooter. It's an MMO. There is a world that you can go around and level in, but it's a full shooter. And then you can go into a PvP war zone, which is your basic either team deathmatch, capture the flag, kind of stuff like that. But it's all, shooter based. And I think there's a couple more out there. I just names elude me. So
Well, the dust from the makers of Eve,
Mhm.
TCP, and then also there was a big name one. It was like you're gaining and losing territory based off your successes in game. So
Name is elude me. So.
yeah,
That's
but
what
it's,
happens when you put a microphone in front of you.
Well, I'm
Things-
not
you're like,
much
"Oh,
for the
no."
shooter.
so you
Yeah,
forgive
yeah.
him, but earlier when I had the issue,
You were talking about it clearly before the show.
You were like, this
literally 10 minutes beforehand.
It was
Eloquent.
literally, all right, this is what we're going to do. I'm going to talk about this. Okay, turn the microphone on. It's on? Wait, what?
Who? Where are we?
Congress.
We have a
Congress.
show? We have a
Podcasting?
show? I'm mad at the government.
But yeah, definitely the MMO can definitely target. They can turn anything into an MMO. Basically.
Well, they're trying it with all sorts of random shit.
Refrigerator, the game.
Well, no, they have like this one anime company, Crunchyroll, did a anime MMO, which is just, no, didn't
I
work
said
out.
they can turn anything into an MMO. I didn't say
They
that it
should.
would be successful or that they should.
But what I wanted to plug real quick was this one anime series, Sword Art Online, which
Say it slower.
Sword
Yeah.
Art
Uh-huh.
Online,
Okay.
Yeah, because that wasn't English the first
Yeah,
time.
Sword Art Online.
also known as SAO, SAO. That you can watch on Crunchyroll about basically 10,000 people stuck inside of an MMO on launch, who if they die in game, they die, and not just one character, but any character who dies, the real person dies.
Wasn't that like Dot Hack?
Dot Hack was really like kind of like random people would die, and not everyone was in the same situation,
Okay.
and also was like made no sense at the end.
Did that hack ever made sense?
I think the pilot made sense.
The beginning
That's
of
pretty
it,
much
the beginning of it, you can kind of be like, okay, suspension of disbelief. By the end of it, you're like, there's no fucking point to the show.
Yeah, I don't think I stood awake through even a single episode.
Well, that's just because there was a lot of talk, right? They're like,
Yeah.
do I really exist because I am in a game and
I'm
not-
existential. I'm a hippie.
I'm trying to be deep like Evangelion. But whereas Sword Art Online, it's more like there's like two sides. There's the main character who's very much like, well, I'm alive in the real world. I'm alive here. I'm gonna hang out and eat food. And then there's like the other characters who are like, oh my god, what are we gonna do? And he's just like, eat food. So it's kind of like a fresher take
He's
and
answered
it's a little bit
everything.
more
Eat
relaxed.
food. All right, we should probably cut it, but I want to get back to Rob before we do.
Oh no.
Do you have an answer yet?
He stopped thinking.
That's
he was
usually-
hoping.
Alright.
He was hoping you'd just cut it
That's
off.
Or
usually-
the MMO.
No, of course I had my backup answer. And it's because Mike reminded me of
You're
it
drinking online.
when he brought up the whole Kickstarter thing. To go back to my failsafe, of course. I mean, go ahead and throw something like a Fallout on there. You've got the whole Fallout setting. Fallout 3 type gameplay could easily be converted.
Yeah,
over
Bethesda,
to
I'd
something
play
like
that.
What's that?
I'd play that.
Yeah, I mean, as far as the playstyle goes, you have the setting and the background and the storyline for it. And you could pretty much just kind of throw characters out there and you'd be set to ready to go. So
Work. All right.
I want
I had an answer for you,
I want an open gaming platform. That's my hope for the next 10 years.
They tried to do it on Super Nintendo once with a Dungeon Master game where you create your own world.
Okay,
Yeah.
listen. I'm
I've
talking
seen that.
about modern technology next 10 years.
Yeah, I'm just saying, if they were able to start that project back then, I'm sure they can manage to pull it off a little bit better
VR
now.
goggles are almost here.
Google goggles.
Not the Google goggles. The real VR goggles.
The goggles.
Like,
They do nothing.
Can you imagine if Google Glass really does nothing? It was like, oh my god, this is the most advanced technology ever.
can see the world in 3D.
It adds an extra blue line to everything.
everything's blurry. This must be awesome.
I feel like I'm hot because of the glasses.
I love glass. All right, guys, that's it for tonight's show. Maybe if we drink more, we can do a bonus show. We'll see.
Maybe.
If not, see you in a few weeks. Have a good night, everyone.
Have a good night.
Good night.
Thank you for listening to our show. Please visit our website at noordinaryobsession.com, where you'll find show notes from this and other podcasts, along with our blog and Twitter feed. This has been a production of No Ordinary Media, all material copyright unless otherwise noted. As always, be kind to us and subscribe to our feeds. Good night.